What's up everyone? Most of you have probably heard by now, but Atlus quote-unquote accidentally leaked the announcement trailers for two upcoming Persona games. Persona 3 Reload, a much-requested Persona 3 remake, and Persona 5 Tactica, a strategy game spin-off of Persona 5 with a similar art style to Persona Q. And I put accidentally in quotes because with how many times this has happened, I seriously doubt it's unintentional. They do it because it gets YouTubers like me talking about it and it generates buzz, but before I start to go helping to generate that buzz, if you're at all active in the Persona community, I'm sure you're aware of how much of a demand there is for a remake of Persona 3. There has been talk of one for a long time, and last year during Atlus's customer survey, Persona 3 was tied with Persona 2 for being the game that most people wanted to see remade. And in 2020, on the 10th anniversary of the promise day from Persona 3, some fans even got Persona 3 Remake trending on Twitter. Did this have anything to do with this remake? I'm not sure, but it would be kinda cool if it did. Now, a couple months ago, there was some super legit looking leaked footage of Yukari, which looked like a Persona 3 remake, and it came from the same source that leaked the Persona 3, 4, and 5 re-releases, but there wasn't any other information to suggest that this was actually from a Persona 3 remake, so most fans, myself included, just wrote this off as something that would probably be coming to the new Persona 5 Chinese mobile game. It wasn't until just yesterday that this official trailer was leaked on the official Atlus Instagram account, which confirms pretty much everyone's expectations that Persona 3 is indeed getting a remake, and that is what this is from. A lot of people have been asking my opinion on these games, and while I am excited, I do have a lot of conflicting opinions on these games, especially Persona 3 Reload. Mainly because I don't actually think Persona 3 needed a remake. I know that's not the most popular opinion, but I think for a PS2/PSP game, Persona 3 holds up very well. Now, while I don't think it needed a remake, I do think it needed a definitive edition, because no matter which version of Persona 3 you're playing, you're going to be missing out on some features that only the other game has. Like, you don't have the 3D overworlds or the answer if you're playing portable, and you don't have the female protagonist if you're playing FES. That being said, while I wasn't exactly on the edge of my seat in anticipation for Persona 3 Remake, now that they've already pulled the trigger and are going through with it, I am excited. This new trailer looks really good. The graphics, the character models, the new artwork, the animations, and even the trailer's music are all great, and this new coat of paint really looks good on Persona 3. But that actually brings me to my next and biggest concern. Don't get me wrong, this trailer looks good, but it doesn't show either the female protagonist or anything from the answer. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and assume they just either forgot or couldn't fit any footage from that into the trailer, even though those things are kind of important, but worst case scenario, I'm going to assume that they'll be added later through either a patch or DLC. I mean, that would be pretty insulting if this remake of an almost 20-year-old game didn't have either of those features at all. But then again, this is Atlus we're talking about. And that also kind of leads into my next concern, because it hasn't even been half a year since Persona 3 Portable got re-released on all platforms, and if you've seen any of the videos on it, it's not a very good port. Why would Atlus even bother releasing Persona 3 Portable at all when this remake it's supposed to release early 2024, so I'm assuming it'll probably release around February or March. But why would they waste their time with this lazy re-release when the remake is just around the corner? I mean, I do know why.
Money!
Granted, this isn't the first time Atlus has done something like this. We got the original Catherine released on Steam right before Full Body came out, but at least for that, Catherine Full Body wasn't going to be and still hasn't been released on Steam. But what I'm really worried about is that Atlus released Persona 3 Portable shortly before Reload because they aren't actually planning to put the FemC in the game, and this is basically their way of making her accessible. I hope to God that isn't true, but like I said, this is Atlus we're talking about here. There's also the fact that in this trailer, it's only confirmed to be coming to Xbox One, Series X, and PC, but I'm sure that's only because these trailers were meant to be shown at the Xbox Games Showcase. I'm sure we'll get either a new trailer or press release a matter of hours after the showcase that confirms them for all other platforms. The other trailer that got leaked is for Persona 5 Tactica, a strategy RPG spin-off of Persona 5, and yeah, I don't really have a lot to say. It looks good, and I'm sure it'll be a fun game, but I'm not really sure how to feel about another Persona 5 spin-off. I mean, yeah, it's a genre that we haven't gotten for a Persona spin-off yet, a genre that I'm a big fan of, in fact, and the art style looks really creative. I like the idea of the game taking place during different historical revolutions, and the gameplay does look fun, kinda like a more cartoony version of XCOM. And unlike Persona 3 Reload, this one actually does have a confirmed release date, November 17th, so I'll definitely be picking it up, and we'll see how good it is when it comes out. So that's it for leaked trailers, but I also wanted to talk about what this means for Atlus's future. My biggest concern is what this is going to mean for Persona 6, because it's been almost 7 years since Persona 5 released in Japan. That's longer than it was between the release of Eternal Punishment and Persona 3, and there's almost no known info about it. I was hoping that this would be the last big announcement for Atlus's Persona 25th anniversary thing, but we all know how that turned out. I'm really hoping that all these re-releases, remakes, and spin-offs are just to hold us over until then, and that the developers are hard at work on Persona 6, and that when it does get announced, it'll be just around the corner, but I don't know. Given how Atlus has been with the main entries from their biggest IPs, I am a bit worried. And not to mention, where is Project RE Fantasy? Well, that's going to be it for this video. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out my other links in the description, and until the next video, I will see you all later.